Costco shoppers are furious over this, and once you see it, you'll understand why they're calling it the Costco Prison. They're trying to build apartments, but they've actually built holding cells. We're talking tiny spaces, boxy designs, and a look that screams maximum security. Seriously, the only thing that's missing is the guard towers. Is this what affordable housing has come to, or has Costco completely lost their minds? This is what happens when woke DEI policies and liberal agendas come together. And why are they even building apartments to begin with? I'll break it all down and show you what's really going on and how this is going to affect your Costco in Florida. Let's jump in. All right, let's talk about these so-called apartments. Picture this, tiny spaces crammed into a massive building, each one barely big enough to turn around in. These micro units built on top of a Costco in California are only 362 square feet. That's smaller than a two-car garage. Inside, you got one door, one window, a bed squeezed in next to a tiny kitchen, and a bathroom tucked back into the corner. It's more barely livable than luxury living. Jamie Duff on X says, I didn't even know Costco sold prisons. And the design, let's just say it's not winning any awards for comfort. The boxy layout screams maximum security with rows of identical units stacked like cells in a prison. Prefabricated modules make up the structure, which means each unit had to be small enough to fit on a truck for delivery. That's why they all have that same narrow shotgun style design. It's efficient, sure, but it's also depressing. The developer, Thrive Living, says there are 800 of these units in this single building. 800. Can you imagine living in a building packed that tight? It's like they're trying to see how many people they can fit into one space without anybody noticing. Here's what Fake Giants News says on X. Yeah, but the downside is you have to rent a 10-pack of apartments. You can't just rent one. That's pretty funny. And here's the truth. These units are built with no real consideration for the fact that they're above a Costco. Lady MAGA USA says, gross. Now it's going to be ghetto. And here's what Ishmael Flores thinks it's going to look like.
Hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Come on, Ish. It's not going to look that bad. The big question is, where do you put your Costco-sized purchases in a micro unit? Spoiler alert, you don't. This whole thing feels like a rushed, just get it done project to check a box rather than something designed for actual people to live in. So yeah, the Costco Prison nickname, it's pretty fitting. These apartments might solve a housing problem on paper, but when you take a closer look, they're more about squeezing people into boxes than providing a real home. And you won't believe where this is happening. But before we dive in, did you know that 92% of the people watching this video are not subscribed? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And when you do, you're not just keeping up with Florida, you're becoming part of the action. I promise you, you'll feel more informed, more connected, and ready to experience everything this incredible state has to offer. So don't wait. Subscribe now and let's explore Florida together. This whole Costco apartment experiment is happening in Los Angeles, California.
Affordable housing. Take a look behind me. Right now, it isn't much. You can just see those fences, but behind those gates will soon be a bold new plan for LA's housing crisis.
And honestly, the reason it looks the way it does boils down to one thing: California's bad policies on building anything new. Let me break it down for you. In California, if you want to build a big box store like Costco, you're looking at years of red tape. We're talking public hearings, environmental reviews, consultant fees. In this case, Costco was starting down millions of dollars in fees and years of delays, all for the chance to maybe get the project approved. But here's the twist. California passed a law called AB 2011, which says if you build housing on top of a project and meet certain criteria, you can skip most of that nonsense. No public hearings, no endless paperwork. It's like a fast pass for developers. So to save time and money, Costco decided to throw 800 tiny apartments on top of their new store. It's a loophole, plain and simple. By doing this, they avoided the typical headaches and saved millions of dollars in the process. But there's a catch. To meet the requirements of the law, the housing portion of the building has to be at least 2/3 of the total space. That's why they ended up cramming so many units into the design. And instead of building livable, family-friendly spaces, they went with tiny one-bedroom micro units. These apartments aren't designed for families, they're for single people only. So out of the 800 units, 184 will be designated as affordable housing. Now, don't confuse confuse this with low-income housing. These units are for folks like nurses, police officers, construction workers, and firefighters. People who work hard but still struggle with California's insane housing costs. But do you really think any of these people are gonna wanna live in this tiny prison? Here's what Reclamation says. Laughing my ass off. Let's be honest, nobody rich is gonna buy a house in a Costco prison. This is only going to attract the people that have no choice. If Costco can't fill all these units, I can see the state of California forcing them to cram homeless people in there, which would create an even bigger problem. Here's what Mark P. Ryan says. Costco is inviting trouble. The government will stuff it with illegals, and that will be a no-go area. Bye-bye, Costco. And LA Trader gives an even more technical description of what's gonna happen. This guy kills me. It gives new meaning to the term convenient shoplifting. I mean, for reals, bruh. Set the pipe down, roll downstairs, grab you some wham-whams, and boom, right back upstairs. Hitting that pipe, and Costco will shut down 6 months later due to rampant crime and homelessness. You heard it here, folks. And if anybody knows what wham-whams are, drop it in the comments below, please. The thing is, this all comes back to bad policies. California's laws are so strict and expensive that developers are forced to cut corners and build these tiny spaces just to comply. So at the very least, these should have been 2-bedroom units so families could actually live in them. Instead, we got a building designed more for squeezing in as many people as possible rather than creating a house that somebody would want to call their home. Now let's look at what Costco is doing in Florida, because it's a completely different story. Unlike California, Florida doesn't have those crazy restrictive building policies that force developers into making weird decisions. Florida actually works with companies to encourage smart development, and it shows. Take the new Costco project in Stuart, Florida. Instead of cramming 800 micro units on top of a store, they're building a neighborhood. The development is going to include a Costco store, an 18-pump gas station, retail stores, restaurants, and 378 apartment units. The apartments will be upscale, and they'll be from 1 to 3 bedrooms. The whole complex will be gated, and it's going to include a 10,000 square foot clubhouse, and it's being built across 49 acres. We're talking about a well-planned development with larger homes spread out over a bigger footprint. No one's living on top of a Costco, and it's not designed to feel like a high-rise jail cell. This is the kind of thoughtful development you'd expect in a state that actually wants to solve the housing problem. Florida's approach makes a lot more sense. They're not cutting corners or squeezing people into tiny boxes. The homes here are being built to accommodate families and offer a better quality of life. You've got space to breathe, live, and actually enjoy your surroundings. Unlike California, where you're practically living on top of your neighbor, Florida's policies encourage developers to think long-term, not just about saving money or checking a box. By giving companies the flexibility to build larger homes in well-thought-out neighborhoods, they're creating a win-win for everyone. Families get livable housing, businesses can grow without unnecessary hurdles, and communities can thrive. This is why Florida is becoming the go-to spot for smart development. It's not about loopholes, it's about building homes and neighborhoods. Love your house, man.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, very nice.
Took us a long time.
Oh, I bet. I know the feeling. That actually work for the people living in them. Costco's Florida projects show what's possible when you have good policies and a state that supports growth. So why is Costco, the big warehouse store we all know, starting to build apartments? First, there's a big need for places to live, especially in cities like Los Angeles. By adding apartments on top of their stores, Costco helps provide more homes for people. This idea isn't new. Other stores have done similar things. For example, in the UK, a company called John Lewis is building flats above their Waitrose supermarkets to make better use of space and help with housing shortages. But not everybody agrees with that. Take Trevor Majors on X. He says, bullshit. Costco is building apartments on top of their stores so that the rent offsets their property and tax costs. It has nothing to do with the altruistic notion of affordable housing. It's for additional untapped revenue. Now let's talk about money. Costco is a publicly traded company, and two of the biggest owners are the Vanguard Group, owning 9.4%, and BlackRock with 7.56%. These are huge investment companies that like to put money into different things, including including apartment buildings. So by building apartments, Costco can make more money from rent, giving them another way to earn besides just selling products in their stores. Building apartments also helps Costco save on taxes. When they invest in real estate, they can get tax benefits, which means they might pay less in taxes. This is good for the company and its investors because it means more profits stay in their pockets. Plus, having people live right above your store means you got more customers that can easily shop there. This setup can make the store busier and more successful. It's a smarter move that benefits both the community and the company. So would you live above a Costco in one of their apartments? Some people are all for it, like Box Jockey, who says, I'm down, except for the fact that I'd go down for a hot dog, then come back with a hot dog and a flat screen and a 12-pack of socks every time until my apartment exploded. That cracks me up. I can tell you right now, my answer is a hard no. There's no way I'd live in a 300 square foot jail cell sitting on top of a Costco in LA. Think about it. Costco stores are already chaotic. Their parking lots are packed, the stores are buzzing with people, and it's just nonstop action. On average, a single Costco store pulls in about $530,000 a day in revenue, which means thousands of customers are coming and going every single day. That's not just your backyard, that's your front yard, side yard, and even your roof. It's madness. And let's not forget about the gas pumps. If you've ever tried to get gas at a Costco on a busy day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The lines are ridiculous. You could easily be waiting 20 minutes or more just to fill up your tank. Living on top of that chaos? No, thank you. Here's another big reason I wouldn't want to live there. Costco pushes the woke DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda. This means they're focusing on hiring based on quotas instead of merit, which is just wrong. Everyone deserves a fair shot at a job, but discriminating against one group to prioritize another is not the way to do it. Costco needs to wake up and change. Now, if we're talking about apartments above the mall in Florida, that's a different story. I recently shot a video about the Miami Mall adding apartments, and honestly, I think that's genius. Imagine popping into the mall for some shopping, grabbing a bite with your friends, and meeting the neighbors at the bar, and then heading back up to your place with a quick elevator ride. And during Christmas, you wouldn't even need to put up a tree. You could just take your friends downstairs to see Santa. That sounds awesome to me. Even Costco's apartments in Stuart, Florida seem like a better deal. They're bigger, more livable spaces, and it's a gated community, so you're not stuck in the middle of a Costco parking lot circus. I can see those filling up fast. But as for living on top of a Costco in LA, not a chance. It's too cramped, too chaotic, and too tied to bad policies and ideas. Count me out. I do gotta give Costco some credit here. They did find a clever way to work around California's insane regulations and still get their store built. But let's be real, 800 tiny jail cell style apartments, that's just not gonna work long term. I think this project is headed for failure, and I'm gonna call it here right now. Here's the deal, California needs to stop putting up so many hoops for businesses that are trying to create jobs and build in their communities. These ridiculous obstacles force companies into making decisions like this, and it's not helping anybody. It's time for California to get its act together before it's too late. Now let's talk about Florida. This state does an amazing job of encouraging development and making it easy for businesses to thrive. That's why so many people and companies are moving here. And honestly, I love living in Florida. Who wouldn't? Check out this view. Between the sunshine, the beaches, and the opportunities, there's no better place to be. Florida is doing it right, and I'm proud to call it home. And I'm not the only one moving to Florida. Check out this next video where I talk about Elon Musk moving to Florida. This is huge news for Florida and the local real estate market. Find out where he's moving to, and you will not believe the size of the crib he's rumored to be buying, or the price tag. I'll see you there.